Section 1 of Bill and Doreen's Courtship. Selections from The Songs of a Sentimental Bloke. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Son of the Exiles. Bill and Doreen's Courtship. Selections from The Songs of a Sentimental Bloke by Clarence James Dennis. Section 1. A Spring Song. The world has got me snouted just a treat. Cruel fortune's dirty left has smote me soul, and all them joys of life I held so sweet is up the pole. For as the poet says, me heart has got the pip with yearnin' for I don't know what. I'm crook, me name is Mud, I've done me dash. Me flamin' spirit's got the flamin' hump. I'm longin' to let loose on somethin' rash. Oh, I'm a chump. I know it, but this blimed old springtime craze fair outs me on these dilly silly days. The young green leaves is shootin' on the trees. The air is like a long cool swig of beer. The bonzer smell of flowers is on the breeze. An' here's me here, just moochin' round like some poor balmy coot of hope and joy and fortune, destitute. I've lost me former joy in gettin' shick, or headin' browns. I haven't got the heart to word a Tom and squarin' all I'm sick of that cheap tart who chucks her carcass at a feller's head and mauls him. Ah, I wish that I was dead. There's little breezes stirrin' in the leaves, and sparrows chirpin' high the whole day long, and on the air a sad sweet music breathes, a bonzer song, a mournful sort of tune that gets a bloke fair in the brisket ear and makes him choke. What is the matter with me? I don't know. I got a sort of yearnin' here inside, a dead crook sort of thing that won't let go or be denied, a feelin' like I want to do a break and stoush creation for some woman's sake. The little birds is chirpin' in the nest. The parks and gardens is a bosker sight, where smilin' tarts walks up and down all dressed in clobber white. And as their snowy forms go steppin' by, it seems I'm seekin' somethin' on the sly. Something or someone I don't rightly know, but seems to me I'm kinder lookin' for a tart I knew 100 years ago, or maybe more. What's this I've heard 'em call that thing? Gee whiz, me ideal bit of skirt, that's what it is. Me ideal tart, and blimey, look at me. Just take a squiz at this and tell me, can some square and honest Tom take this to be her own true man? Ah, God, I'd be as true to her, I would, and straight and steady as... Ah, what's the good? Me that has done me stretch for Stoush and Johns, and spends me leisure gettin' on the shick, and half me nights down there in Little Lon with Ginger Mick, just headin' 'em and doin' in me guilt. Tough luck, I suppose it's how a man is built. It's how God builds a bloke, but don't it hurt when he gets yearnin' for this higher life on these spring mornin's, watchin' some sweet skirt, some future wife, go sailin' by and turnin' on his phiz, the glassy eye, for bein' what he is. I've watched 'em walkin' in the gardens here, cliners from offices and shops and such, the sort of skirts I dursn't come too near or dare to touch. And when I see the kind of looks they cast, Gawstruth, what is the use of me, I ask? What was I slung here for, and what's the good of yearnin' after any ideal tart? Ah, if a bloke was only understood, he's got a heart, he's got a soul inside him, poor or rich. But what's the use when 'eaven's cruelty's pitch? I tells meself some day I'll take a pull an' look around fer some good steady job, an' cut the push for good an' all. I'm full o' that crook mob. An' in some spring the future 'olds in store I'll cop me prize an' long in vain no more. The little winds is stirrin' in the trees where little birds is chantin' lovers' lays, the music of the soft an' balmy breeze. Oh, spare me days! If this 'ere dilly feelin' doesn't stop, I'll lose me block an' stoush some flamin' cop. End of section 1. Recording by Son of the Exiles. Section 2 of Bill and Doreen's Courtship. Selections from The Songs of a Sentimental Bloke by Clarence James Dennis. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Son of the Exiles. Section 2. The Intro. "'Er name's Doreen. Well, spare me bloomin' days. You could 'a' knocked me down with 'arf a brick. Yes, me that kids meself I know their ways, an' 'as a name for smoogin' in our click. I just lines up an' tips the saucy wink. But strike! The way she piled on dog, you'd think a bloke was givin' back chat to the Queen. 'Er name's Doreen. I seen 'er in the market first of all, inspectin' brums at Steeny Isaac's stall. I backs me barrow in the same old way, an' says, "What ho! It's been a bonzer day. 'Ow is it fer a walk?" Oh, holy wars! The sorter look she gimme just becos I tried to chat 'er like you'd make a start with any tart. An' I can take me oath I was polite, an' never said no word that wasn't right, an' never tried to maul 'er or to do a thing you might call crook. To tell you true, I didn't seem to 'ave the nerve. With 'er I felt as if I couldn't go that far an' start to sling off shy act like I used. Not introduced. Next time I sighted 'er in Little Bourke, when she was in a job, I found 'er lurk. Was pastin' labels in a pickle joint, a game that, anyhow, that ain't the point. Once more I tried to chat 'er in the street, but blimey, did she turn me down a treat! The way she tossed 'er 'ead an' swished 'er skirt, oh, it was dirt. A squarer Tom, I swear, I'd never seen in all me nat'ral than this 'ere Doreen. It weren't no guyver neither, for I knew that any other bloke 'ad Buckleys too. Tried for to pick 'er up, yes, she was square. She just sailed by an' left me standin' there. Like any mug, thinks I'm out o' luck, an' done a duck. Well, I dunno, it's that way wiv a bloke. If she'd 'a breasted up to me an' spoke, I'd thought 'er just a common bit o' fluff, an' then forgot about 'er like enough. It's just like this, the tarts that's 'ard to get makes you all hot to chase 'em, an' to let the cove called Cupid get an 'ammerlock an' lose yer block. I know a bloke who knows a bloke who toils in that same pickle foundry. He boils the cabbage stalks or somethin'. Anyway, I gives me pal the office for to say 'e 'as a sister in the trade 'oo's been out of a job an' wants to meet Doreen. Then we can get an intro if we've luck. 'E says right buck. O' course we worked the oracle, you bet. But, 'struth, I ain't recovered from it yet. 'Twas on a Saturdday in Collins Street, an' quite by accident, of course, we meet. Me pal, 'e trots 'er up an' does the toff. He always was a bloke for showin' off. "This 'ere's Doreen," 'e says. "This 'ere's the kid." I dips me lid. "This 'ere's Doreen," 'e says. I says, "G'day." And blimey, I had nothin' more to say. I couldn't speak a word, or meet her eye. Clean done me block. I never been so shy. Not since I was a tiny little cub, and run the rabbit to the corner pub. What time the summer days was dry and 'ot for me old pot. Me, that has barracked tarts and talked and laughed and chucked off at 'em like a phonograph. Gosh, 'struth, I seem to lose me power of speech. But her, oh, strike me pink, she is a peach. The sweetest in the barrer, spare me days. I can't describe that Cliner's winnin' ways. The way she talks, her lips, her eyes, her hair. Oh, gimme air. I dunno how I done it in the end. I recollect I asked to be her friend, and tried to play at Andy's in the park. A thing she wouldn't sight. Ah, it's a nark. I gotta swear when I think what a mug I must 'a' seemed to her, but still I 'ug that promise that she give me for the beach. The bonzer peach. Now, as the poet says, the days drag by on leaden feet. I wish they'd do a guy. I dunno how I 'ad the nerve to speak and make that meet with her for Sunday week. But strike, it's funny what a bloke'll do. When he's all out, she's gone when I come to. I'm yappin' to me cobber of me mash. I've done me dash. Her name's Doreen, and me that thought I knew the ways of tarts and all that smoogin' game. And so I ought, for ain't I known a few? Yet somehow, I dunno, it ain't the same. I can't tell what it is, but all I know, I'll drop me bundle, and I'm glad it's so. For when I come to think of what I been, her name's Doreen. End of section 2. Recording by Son of the Exiles. Section 3 of Bill and Doreen's Courtship. Selections from the Songs of a Sentimental Bloke by Clarence James Dennis. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Son of the Exiles. Section 3. Doreen. I wish you meant it, Bill. Oh, how me heart went out to her that evening on the beach. I knew she weren't no ordinary tart. My little peach. I tell you, square and all, me heart stood still to 'ear her say, I wish you meant it, Bill. To 'ear her voice, its gentle sort o' tone, like soft dream music of some Dago band. An' me all out, an' 'oldin' in me own 'er little 'and. An' 'ow she blushed, oh, strike, it was divine, the way she raised 'er shinin' eyes to mine. 'Er eyes, soft in the moon, such boshed 'er eyes. An' when they sight a bloke, oh, spare me days, 'e goes all loose inside, such glamour lies in 'er sweet gaze. It makes 'im all ashamed o' what 'e's been, to look into the eyes of my Doreen. The wet sands glistened, and the gleamin' moon shone yeller on the sea, all streakin' down. A band was playin' some soft dreamy tune, and up the town we 'eard the distant tramcars whir and clash. And there I told 'er how I'd done me dash. I wish you meant it, 'struth, and did I fair? A bloke 'ud be a dog to kid a skirt like her, and me well knowin' she was square. It 'ud be dirt. He'd be no man to point with her and kid. I meant it honest, and she knew I did. She knew I've done me block in on her straight. A cove has got to think sometime in life, and get some decent tart ere it's too late to be 'is wife. But God, who'd 'a thought it could 'a been my luck to strike the likes of 'er, Doreen? Oh, I can stand their chuckin' off, I can. It's 'ard, and I'd delight to take 'em on. The dogs! But it gets that way with a man when 'e's fair gone. She'll sight no stoush, and so I 'ave to take their mag and do a duck for her sweet sake. For her sweet sake I've gone and chucked it clean, the pubs and schools and all that leery game. For when a bloke has come to know Doreen, it ain't the same. There's higher things, she says, for blokes to do, and I am half believin' that it's true. Yes, higher things. That was the way she spoke, and when she looked at me I sort of felt that Bosca feelin' that comes o'er a bloke and makes him melt. Makes him all hot to maul her and to shove his arms about her. Blimey, but it's love. That's what it is, and when a man has grown like that he gets a sort of yearn inside to be a little hero on his own and see the pride glow in the eyes of her he calls his queen, and hear her say he is a shine champion. I wish you meant it, I can hear it yet. My bit of fluff, the moon was shinin' bright, turnin' the waves all yeller where it set. A bonzer night, the sparklin' sea all sort of gold and green, and on the pier the band, oh hell, Doreen! End of section 3. Section 4 of Bill and Doreen's Courtship. Selections from the Songs of a Sentimental Bloke by Clarence James Dennis. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Son of the Exiles. Section 4. The Play. What's in a name, she says, and then she sighs, and clasps her little hands and rolls her eyes. A rose, she says, be any other name would smell the same. Oh, wherefore art you Romeo, young sir? Chuck your old pot and change your moniker. Doreen and me, we been to see a show, the swell $2 touch bon ton, you know. A chair apiece with velvet on the seat, a slap-up treat. The drama's writ be Shakespeare years ago about a balmy goat called Romeo. "Lady beyond the moon, I swear," says he, and then he climbs up on the balcony, and there they smooge a treat with pretty words like two lovebirds. I nudge Doreen, she whispers, "Ain't it grand?" Her eyes is shinin', and I squeeze her 'and. "What's in a name?" she says. "'Struth, I dunno. Billo is just as good as Romeo. She may be Julia or Juliet. He loves her yet. If she's the tart he wants, then she's his queen. Names never count, but I like Doreen. A sweeter, dearer sound I never heard. There's music hangs about that little word. Doreen. But what was this I starts to say about the play? I'm off me beat, but when a bloke's in love, his thoughts turns her way like an omen dove. This Romeo, he's lurkin' with a crew, a dead tough crowd of crooks called Montague. His cliners push what's nicknamed Capulet. They has 'em set. Fair narks they are, just like them backstreet cliques, except they fights with skewers 'stead of bricks. What's in a name? What's in a string of words? They scraps in old Verona with their swords, and never gives a bloke a stray dog's chance. And that's romance. But when they deals it out with bricks and boots, in Little Lon they're low, degraded brutes. What's just plain stoush with us right here today is valour, if you're far enough away. Sometime some writer bloke will do the trick with Ginger Mick of Spadger's Lane. He'll be a Romeo when he's been dead 500 years or so. Fair Juliet, she gives her boy the tip. Says she, "Don't sling that crowd of mine no lip, and if you run again a Capulet, just do a get." He swears he's done with lash, he'll chuck it clean, same as I done when I first met Doreen. They smooge some more at that, Oh, strike me blue! It gimme Joes to sit and watch them two. He'd break away and start to say goodbye, and then she'd sigh, "Oh, Romeo!" and get a strangle 'olt, and 'ang around 'im like she feared he'd bolt. Next day 'e words a gospel cove about a secret weddin', and they plan it out. 'E spouts a piece about 'ow 'e's bewitched. Then they get hitched. Now, 'ere's the place where I fair get the pip. She's 'is for keeps, an' yet 'e lets 'er slip. Ah, but 'e makes me sick a fair gazob. 'E's just the glassy on the soulful sob. 'E'll sigh and spruik and 'owl a lovesick vow. The silly cow. But when 'e's got 'er spliced an' on the straight, 'e cruels the pitch an' tries to kid its fate. Ah, fate me foot! Instead o' slopin' soon, as 'e was wed off on 'is 'oneymoon, 'im an' 'is cobber called Mick Curio, they 'ave to go and mix it wiv that push o' Capulets. They look for trouble, an' it's wot they gets. A tug named Tyball, cousin to the skirt, sprags 'em an' makes a start to sling off dirt. Next minute there's a real old ding-dong go. 'Arf round or so. Mick Curio, 'e gets it in the neck. "Ah, rats!" 'e says, an' passes in 'is cheque. Quite natchral Romeo gets wet as 'ell. "It's me or you!" 'e 'owls, an' wiv a yell plunks Tyball through the gizzard wiv 'is sword. 'Ow I encored. "Put in the boot!" I says. "Put in the boot!" "'Ush!" says Doreen. "Shame!" says some silly coot. Then Romeo, 'e dunno wot to do. The cops gets busy, like they always do, an' nose around until 'e gets blue funk, an' does a bunk. They wants 'is tart to wed some other guy. "Oh, strike!" she says. "I wish that I could die." Now this 'ere gospel bloke's a fair shrewd head. Says 'e, "I'll dope yer so they'll think yer dead." I tips 'e was a cunnin' sort wot knew a thing or two. She takes 'is knockout drops up in 'er room. They thinks she's snuffed an' plant 'er in 'er tomb. Then things gets mixed a treat an' starts to whirl. 'Ere's Romeo come back an' finds 'is girl tucked in 'er little coffin, cold an' stiff. An' in a jiff 'e swallows Lysol, throws a fancy fit, head over turkey, an' 'is soul is flit. Then Juliet wakes up an' sees 'im there, turns on the waterworks an' tears 'er 'air. "Dear love," she says, "I cannot live alone." An' wiv a moan she grabs 'is pocket knife an' ends 'er cares. "Peanuts or lollies?" says a boy upstairs.
End of section 4. Section 5 of Bill and Doreen's Courtship. Selections from the Songs of a Sentimental Bloke by Clarence James Dennis. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Son of the Exiles. Section 5.
The Stror At Coot. Ah, women, what a blinded fool I been! I asks meself, what else could I expect? I've done me block complete on this Doreen, an' now me 'eart is broke, me life's a wreck. The dreams I dreamed, the dilly thoughts I thunk, is up the pole, an' joy has done a bunk. Women! Oh, strike! I oughter know their game. Their tricks is crook, their arts is all dead snide. The 'ole world over tarts is all the same, all soft an' smilin' wiv no 'eart inside. But she fair doped me wiv 'er winnin' ways, then crooled me pitch fer all me mortal days. They're all the same. A bloke 'as got to be strict master if 'e wants to snare 'em sure. 'E 'as to take a stand an' let 'em see that triflin' is a thing 'e won't endure. 'E wants to show 'em that 'e 'olds command, so they will smooge an' feed out of 'is 'and. 'E needs to make 'em feel 'e's the boss, an' kids 'e's careless of the joys they give. 'E 'as to make 'em think 'e'll feel no loss to part with any tart he's trackin' with. That all their pretty ways is crook pretence is plain to any bloke with common sense. But when the birds is nestin' in the spring, an' when the soft green leaves is in the bud, he drops his bundle to some fluffy thing. He pays her homage, an' his name is Mud. She plays with him an' kids him on a treat until she has him crawlin' at her feet. An' then, when he's fair off his top with love, an' she has got him good an' had her fun, she slings him over like a cast-off glove to let the other tarts see what she's done. All vanity, deceit, an' 'eartless kid. I orter known, an' spare me days, I did. I knew, but when I looked into her eyes, them shinin' eyes o' blue all soft with love, with mimic love, they seemed to 'ipnotise. I was content to place her 'igh above. I was content to make of her a queen. An' so she seemed them days. Oh, 'struth, Doreen! I knew, but when I stroked her glossy hair with reverent 'ands, her cheek pressed close to mine, me lonely life seemed robbed of all its care. I dreamed me dreams, an' 'ope begun to shine. An' when she held her lips for me to kiss... Oh, wot's the use? I'm done with all o' this. Wimmin! I ain't jealous. Spare me days. Me jealous of a knock-kneed coot like that. 'Im with 'is cute straw 'at an' pretty ways. I'd be a mug to squeal or whip the cat. I'm glad, I am. Glad 'cos I know I'm free. There ain't no call to talk o' jealousy. I tells meself I'm well out of the game. For look, I might 'a' married 'er, an' then... Oh, strike! Her voice was music when me name was on her lips of them glad evenin's when we used to meet, an' then to think she'd go. No, I ain't jealous, but, oh, I dunno. I took a derry on this Stror At Coot, first time I seen 'im dodgin' round Doreen. 'Im with 'is giddy tie an' Yankee suit, forever yappin' like a talk machine about the hoffice where 'e 'ad a grip. The way 'e smiled at 'er gave me the pip. She says I stoushed 'im when I promised fair to chuck it, even to a friendly spar. Stoushed 'im! I never roughed 'is pretty 'air. I only spanked 'im gentle for 'is mar. If I 'ad jabbed 'im once there would 'a been an inquest, an' I says so to Doreen. I might 'a' took an' cracked 'im in the street when she was with 'im there last Friday night. But don't I keep me temper when we meet? An' don't I raise me lid an' act polite? I only jerks me elbow in 'is ribs to give the gentle office to 'is nibs. Stoushed 'im! I owns I met 'im on the quiet an' worded 'im about a small affair. An' when 'e won't put up 'is 'ands to fight, 'e says for public brawls 'e didn't care. I lays 'im 'cross me knee, the mother's joy, an' smacks 'im 'earty like a naughty boy. An' now Doreen, she says I've broke me vow, an' mags about this coot's poor wounded pride. An' then, o' course, we 'as a ding-dong row, with 'ot an' stormy words on either side. She says I done it out o' jealousy, an' so we parts for ever, 'er an' me. Me jealous! Jealous of that cross-eyed cow! I set 'im 'cos I couldn't sight 'is face. 'Is yappin' fair got on me nerves somehow. I couldn't stand 'im 'angin' round 'er place. A coot like that! But it don't matter much. She's welcome to 'im, if she fancies such. I swear I'll never track with 'er no more. I'll never look on 'er side o' the street, unless she comes an' begs me pardon for them things she said to me in angry 'eat. She can't expect for me to smooge an' crawl. I ain't at any woman's beck an' call. Wimmin! I've took a tumble to their game. I've got the whole bang tribe of cliners set. The 'ole world over, they are all the same. Crook to the core, the bunch of 'em. An' yet...
We could 'a' been that 'appy, 'er an' me. But wot's it matter? Ain't I glad I'm free? A bloke wiv common sense 'as got to own There's little 'appiness in married life. The smoogin' game is better left alone, For tarts is few that makes the ideel wife. An' them's the sort that loves without disguise, An' thinks the sun shines in their 'usban's eyes. But when the birds is matin' in the spring, An' when the tender leaves begin to bud, A feelin' comes, a dilly sorter thing, That seems to sorter swamp 'im like a flood. An' when the fever 'ere inside 'im burns, Then freedom ain't the thing for wot 'e yearns. But I 'ave chucked it all, an' yet, I own, I dreams me dreams when soft spring breezes stirs. An' often, when I'm moonin' 'ere alone, A lispin' maid wiv 'air an' eyes like 'ers, 'Oo calls me dad, she climbs upon me knee, An' yaps 'er pretty baby talk to me, I sorter see a little 'ouse, it seems, With someone waitin' for me at the gate. Ar, where's the sense in dreamin' balmy dreams? I've dreamed before an' nearly woke too late. Such 'appiness could never last for long. We're strangers, 'less she owns that she was wrong. To call 'er back I'll never lift a 'and. She'll never 'ear from me by word or sign. Perhaps some day she'll come to understand The mess she's made of this 'ere life o' mine. Oh, I ain't much to look at, I admit, But 'im, the knock-kneed, swivel-eyed misfit.
End of section 5. Section 6 of Bill and Doreen's Courtship. Selections from the Songs of a Sentimental Bloke by Clarence James Dennis. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Son of the Exiles. Section 6. The Siren. She sung a song and I sat silent there, With both 'ands grippin' hard onto me chair. Me 'eart that yesterday I thought was broke, With 'umpin' such a 'eavy load o' care, Come swellin' in me throat like I would choke. I felt 'ot blushes climbin' to me 'air. 'Twas like that feelin' when the spring wind breathes Sad music in the softly rustlin' leaves. An' when a bloke sits down an' starts to chew Crook thoughts, without quite knowin' why 'e grieves For things 'e's done 'e didn't orter do, Fair winded wiv the 'eavy sighs 'e 'eaves. She sung a song, an' all at once I seen The kind o' cruel an' 'eartless brute I'd been. In ev'ry word I read it like a book, The slanter game I've played wiv my Doreen. I 'eard it in 'er song an' in 'er look. I seen wot made me feel fair rotten mean. Poor 'urt Doreen, me tender bit o' fluff! Ah, men don't understand, they're far too rough. Their ways is far too coarse wiv lovin' tarts. They never gives 'em sympathy enough. They treats 'em 'arsh, they tramples on their 'earts, Because their own cruel 'earts is leather tough. She sung a song, an' all them bitter things That chewin' over lovers' quarrels brings Give place to thoughts o' sorrer an' remorse. Like when some dilly punter goes an' slings 'Is last lone diner on some stiffened 'orse, An' learns them vain regrets wot 'urts an' stings. 'Twas at a beano where I lobs along To drown them memories of fancied wrong. I swear I never knew that she'd be there. But when I met 'er eye, oh, 'struth, 'twas strong. 'Twas bitter strong, that jolt o' dull despair, 'Er look o' scorn. An' then she sung a song. The tune was one o' them sad, mournful things That catch yeh in the bellows 'ere an' brings Tears to yer eyes. The words was of a tart who's trackin' with a silly coot who slings her love aside an' breaks her tender heart. But 'twasn't that, it was the way she sings. To 'ear 'er voice, a bloke 'ud be a log who kept 'is block. Me mind was in a fog of sorrow for to think 'ow I was wrong. Ah, I 'ave been a fair ungrateful 'og. The feelin' that she put into that song 'ud melt the 'eartstrings of a chiner dog. I listens wiv me 'eart up in me throat. I drunk in every word an' every note. Tears trembles in 'er voice when she tells 'ow that tart snuffed out because 'e never wrote. An' then I seen 'ow I was like that cow. With sudden shame me guilty soul was smote. Doreen, she never looked my way, but stood 'arf turned away an' beefed it out real good. Until she sang that bit about the grave. Too late 'e learned 'e 'ad misunderstood. An' then, Gorstruth, the pleadin' look she gave fair in me face 'ud melt a heart o' wood. I dunno 'ow I seen that evenin' thro'. They must 'a' thought I was 'arf shick, I knew. But I 'ad 'urt Doreen without no call. I seen me duty, what I had to do. Oh, strike! I could 'a' blubbed before 'em all. But I sat tight an' never cracked a boo. An' when at last the tarts they make a rise, a lop-eared coot wiv 'air down to 'is eyes, 'e looks on to Doreen an' starts to roam fer 'ome an' mother. I lines up an' cries, "'Ands off! I'm seein' this 'ere cliner 'ome." An' then we left 'im, gapin' wiv surprise. She never spoke, she never said no word, but walked beside me like she'd never 'eard. I swallers 'ard an' starts to coax an' plead. I says I'm dead ashamed o' wot's occurred. She don't reply, she never takes no 'eed, just stares before 'er like a startled bird. I tells 'er never can no other tart be 'arf wot she is if we 'ave to part. I tells 'er that me life will be a wreck. It ain't no go, but when I makes a start to walk away, 'er arms is round me neck. "Oh, kid," she sobs, "you nearly broke me 'eart." I dunno wot I done or wot I said, but 'struth, I'll not forget it till I'm dead. That night when 'ope back in me brisket lobs, 'ow my Doreen, she lays 'er little 'ead down on me shoulder 'ere an' sobs an' sobs. An' all the lights gets sorter blurred an' red. Say, square an' all, it don't seem right some'ow to say such things, but wot I'm feelin' now 'as come at times, I s'pose, to other men. When you 'ave 'ad a real ole ding-dong row, say, ain't it bonzer makin' up again? Straight wire, it's almost worth... Ah, I'm a cow. To think I'd ever seek to 'arm a 'air of 'er dear 'ead again, my oath I swear. No more I'll roust on 'er in angry 'eat. But still, she never seemed to me so fair. She never was so tender or so sweet as when we smooged beneath the lamplight there. She's never been so lovin' wiv 'er gaze, so gentle wiv 'er pretty women's ways. I tells 'er she's me queen, me angel too. "Oh, no, I ain't no angel, kid," she says. "I'm just a woman, an' I loves yeh true. An' so I'll love yeh all me mortal days." She sung a song, 'ere in me barmy style. I sets all tarts, fer in me hour o' trial me soul was withered be a woman's frown, an' broodin' care came roostin' on me dial. She sung a song, me 'eart wiv woe cast down was raised to 'eaven be a woman's smile.
End of section 6. Recording by Son of the Exiles. End of Bill and Doreen's Courtship. Selections from the Songs of a Sentimental Bloke by Clarence James Dennis.